Hello, Assassin Army. A while back, I did a poll asking if y'all wanted to see a certain kind of video, and I put D&D on there because I play Dungeons and Dragons, and that has won by a majority of votes. So let my new series begin. D&D Monday. Let's do this. Okay, so where do I begin? Okay, so the DM is another day. Recently we lost our DM. She just quit our Dungeons and Dragons group at her school. But one of my friends came in clutch. My friend Milo, our new dungeon master, had secretly, ever since the old DM left, had been writing a whole story/campaign for us to do. And then he stepped in one day and said, "Hey, I'm the new DM. I'm the new dungeon master." And I was like, "Oh, cool. So we have something to do other than to sit around and watch YouTube all day now?" This is I maybe like a couple months before the first semester ended, and so we immediately started doing the campaign. So the world itself is set in the USSA, United Super States of America, and in a world where the U.S. was a supreme country after World War II and had nuked all the Axis powers. So all three of the characters meet up in a special location to be part of the new elite agents of the United States, the American Special Services. Um, don't don't put that into short letters, okay? Um, and so it's a strange trio entering the room. They sit before a man who slightly looks like George Washington. There is now here's the crazy part. There is Oppenheimer, the actual Oppenheimer, but he's a lizard person. There's the clone of JFK who has a gaping hole in his head after a training accident, and then there's me, my character, Agent Stalin. I am a clone of Joseph Stalin who was raised in a capitalist um um camp, a capitalist like training camp, and I'm like a super rich millionaire guy who's the heavy of the group. And so the leader steps forward, and it is clone George Washington Alpha. There's beta, gamma, and alpha is the levels. Beta is the first level of cloning, not so great. Gamma is the second level of cloning, which is not good. And alpha is when they perfected the clone, make it the best of the best clone it can be. And he says, "Boys, we have brought you together since you are the best for the new job of American Special Services. We have many threats plaguing our country, and which includes several communist threats." As he says this, Agent Stalin gives a loud boo, which is when everyone actually notices attention, and says, "I hate the communists. Let's go kill them right now." With George Washington interrupting him mid-sentence, and he said, "No, not right now. I still need to debrief you. We've just organized." So, yeah, how to play my character. So he says, "Now that you're organized, we have our first mission. And yes, Agent Stalin, you are going to like this one. There is a communist vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial. Possible communist. All we know is that he has several red spray tanks, and he has a hammer and sickle." Agent Stalin shakes his head in disapproval, and JFK proceeds to pull out a full 5-course meal while Oppenheimer is creating a bomb. That's just the idle activities of everybody, really. and in comes in a new character, Arthur Drazel. Uh, um, Washington, Washington says, this is going to be your pilot and team captain, Arthur Drazel. And as he takes his shades off, it reveals he has green scales around his eyes, his yellow eyes, which have black slits for pupils. And he says, Drazel is lizard backwards. Yep, that's his catchline. I don't like this guy, because what he's going to do next. So, everyone gets in plane. He gets in and drives front. We kick all the passengers out. I'm riding the sides in my jetpack. I do have a jetpack. And we start heading there. While they're heading there, I make a quick pit stop to Hawaii, take out a couple communists, get a couple $1 million, light work. Then I fly with them, and I fly back into the plane, like through a window. They, apparently Drazel is a terrible driver. He's terrible. I don't think he's flown a plane in his life. He crashes it into the Congress Presidential Gardens. This is that huge area in front of the Congress building. This is a passenger plane. We casually take out a family of 5 that's just like there to see the pretty gardens. They're no more. They're gone. They're just dust and evaporated by the plane. Everyone is still recuperating when Drazel just does a triple backflip outside the airplane and starts looking around at the Lincoln Memorial and spots the guy. So we kind of run up. I get ahead of them, and I suddenly crouch down and open my shield, my gauntlets up, which are actually shields. My gauntlets can turn into shields, and I block some attacks from him, and I incapacitate him, and I take his hammer and sickle, and we take him back to base. While they're at base, I'm actually well, this is after, so never mind. Sorry, getting a little confused. But we interrogate him, and he tells about some operations going on in New Italy and New Japan. And so everyone's kind of looking at each other, and I'm like, okay, boys, send them to the decommunizer. And then Arthur Drazel walks in, pulls a gun, shoots and explodes this guy's head, and then takes off his shades and says, Drazel is lizard backwards. This is why I'm sick of this dude. But the DM threatens to kill Agent Stalin if I say I don't like him, so. So, I'm just frustrated, so I kind of leave the group to sort out the dead communist that is now lying on the floor. This is where it comes in. I actually take the hammer and sickle to a metal refinery, my own personal metal refinery. I own a lot of stuff. Again, I'm like the supreme capitalist, basically. And I turn them into dollar signs that have spikes on the end of them, and I attach them to my gauntlets, and they kind of work like hidden blades, except they're not. Take out the hidden part. So I can like activate them in a way that like the blade just comes out of nowhere, and I cool noodle. Cool new little invention there. So yeah, that was basically a warm-up enemy. So we come back, and then we meet up with Washington again, and he's like, "Good job. We're just going to ignore the fact that you killed a family of 5, Drazel." And yes, Washington does not like Drazel either, so I'm glad he shares my opinions. And so they send us to our next location in New Japan. I take my own private jet this time, and I'm not letting Drazel drive. I'm driving myself. But then when we're above New Japan, all of a sudden we're going to attack by missiles. And our plane starts spinning out of control and crash lands into a slightly mountainous / hilly area. We kind of get out of it dazed. This is the second time our plane has crashed. And we look around, and 2 guards come up, and they raise their guns and are like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And I use my persuasion skills, and I'm like, "Oh yes, we are just tourists to see the natural beauties of New Japan. Here, look, you can trust me. Take my jetpack as a token of appreciation." And I've put all my weapons off. I've taken all my weapons off. I'm completely unarmed, except a pistol that I have hidden down my shirt secretly. And so I hand him my jetpack. He kind of walks up to it suspiciously and puts it on, and he's like, "Oh, this is pretty nice." Remotely activates the jetpack. I do. This guy flies up. I pull the gun out of my shirt and point blank rolls, I think, in nat 18, and I headshot the other guard. And then I activate the jetpack again, so it drops the guy who's now way up in the air, and the jetpack flies back to me and lands on my back. I just get all my gear back on, and I'm like, "Okay, everyone, it's time to go. We need to continue the mission." Everyone's really just stunned right now because we're not expecting that to happen, except Jeff. Oh my goodness, dogs! Anyways, except JFK, who is rolled up in a ball on the ground for his protection. So, yeah, we start heading there, and there's a big concrete building, and you can see a couple guards around. It's definitely heavily fortified. But we sneak our way past the wall, and it's just this big square concrete building. And we get up and we climb. We're gonna go in a vent, but then Drazel comes out of the vent and says there's a lot of guards down there. I kind of wish he would have gone that way, and so we could have just left him there for what's gonna happen next. But unfortunately, he survived. So we climbed up, and there's a sunroof. Is how we got in, and so everyone is using acrobat skills to get down. I proceed to take a fire extinguisher and use it to blast my way down there and kind of soften my fall a little. So yeah, and then I put the fire extinguisher in my jetpack out later and make a bomb which is attached to 10 grenades. Later, I haven't used it yet in the campaign, so yeah. But so we start walking, but then we hide behind some boxes because we hear some voices. And we see 3 people dressed in black come out. There's a Frenchman, an Italian, and a German. The German is named Olaf, and the other 2 are slightly non-important at this time. So we hear them talking, and the German asks the Italian, Olaf asks the Italian, "Ah, yes. You said you have completed the project?" The Italian responds, "Yes, of course," and they keep walking. Now we're following them, and they keep going through sequences of doors, and they keep going deeper underground. We're getting to about 50 feet underground when they walk through the doors, and we see something honestly surprising. They walk into a huge cloning facility. While yes, we have clones too, this is the biggest cloning facility we have ever seen. And there's everywhere all these famous villains from history like Genghis Khan, Louis Napoleon, and William Shakespeare. We still don't know why William Shakespeare is in those. But we keep following him, and Olaf lifts his hands into the air. "Ah, yes, you have completed my task well. Yes, my magnum opus, Operation Messiah." And we kind of get to see what's in the test tube at the front of the room. And it's just a baby. There's a baby in the test tube. But the baby has a mustache. It is baby Adolf Hitler in a test tube, cloning tube. And he asks the Frenchman, how long do we have to wait for it to be fully developed? What, like a couple days? And the Frenchman says, like 20 something years. And Olaf just dies internally. And it's like, you mean that we sent all our troops to New Berlin, super radioactive, to get one hair from Adolf Hitler, and they all died. And I have to wait 20 years for my magnum opus to become completed. Is that what you're saying? Can we please just, like, speed up the growth process? And the Frenchman said, well, you wanted, genetic purity, so we have to wait 20 years. And Olaf, in a grunt of disgust, just says, speed up the growing process. I don't really care at this point. And the Frenchman says, also, there has been a group of 3 following us the entire time. The French dude, I can't remember his name. His name is like Jacques or Francois or something like that. Is a genius. The most important thing is that he actually has a prosthetic leg. Prosthetic right leg, I think. And they kind of turn, all 3 of them turn around to just see us crouched like little gremlins in the back, just kind of like staring at them. And so Olaf activates the alarm, and tons of guards start rushing in. The Frenchman, I'm just going to call him the Frenchman for now, leaves. He dips. He's gone. So it's just the Italian and Olaf. Not long after, Oppenheimer gets his head smashed against a test tube and unconscious. The real reason that we chose that to happen was because the player that plays Oppenheimer was not there that day. So had a good time with that. So we're fighting. I'm kind of like running up forward and trying to attack him, but then I have to put my arm guards up because I'm getting attacked by both sides by 2 troops, while JFK keeps rolling low numbers. And the rule of JFK is if he gets a low number, like I think a nat 5 or below, he doesn't pull out the intended object he's trying to get. He pulls out food. So first he pulled out a ham sandwich, and next he rolled a nat 1, so he pulled out a 5-course meal. Yeah, this is... So I'm kind of up there getting my rear end being off of me. Like, I'm getting destroyed, and he's eating a 5-course meal. So I go for the move. I get my like little $ spike ready, and I stab one of them in the stomach. But 2 shots get unloaded into my arm guard, and I block them just barely, but I'm only able to deflect them into my shoulder. I tank 2 shots to the shoulder. I kill the guy right next to him, but the guy I stabbed is still like on the floor gasping, like a gut stab. But that's not that good. But then out comes Olaf, and now I don't have like my heavy gear on like I usually do, but I am a 250-pound jacked I think I'm like late 20s age, and I am ripped, and I weigh 250 pounds. Olaf looks like the strength of an average person, but he just picks me up by like the throat and just yeets me against the wall. And so I get my arm guards out because I'm getting shot at repeatedly. And what do you think Drazel is doing all this time? Well, he got at the back and tried to take out the Frenchman before he left, crashed into the test tube with baby Hitler, and squashed baby Hitler. And so as he got up, he kind of looked down and surprised, and, well, the threat had been neutralized. Operation Messiah was no more. And, baby Hitler was dead, and his blood was splashed out in the symbol of a swastika. Yeah, I know, our DM is so creative. Our DM is so creative. And so, instead of helping us fight, Drazel jumps back onto the already dead baby Hitler and starts, like, repeatedly stabbing him. Being of no help again. And then Olaf kind of retreats. He thinks the guards are just going to finish us off. In the distance, though, you hear... And it starts getting louder. And a chorus starts joining in. All of a sudden, boom, wall explodes. We're 50 feet underground and it's a 2-layer thick concrete wall. It explodes. The blast kills all the guards and out walks Supreme George Washington, which is our boss. Out walks our boss, George Washington. But there, only one layer of concrete is destroyed, and that's the inner layer. He broke the laws of physics and just teleported in there and he killed all the guards just by existing and blowing a hole in the first layer of concrete. And so, he kind of rushes over to me, pulls out a stim pack, and, like, injects it into my shoulder to, quickly heal it. And, like, is, like, getting Drazel off the ground and picks up JFK. He's carrying both of them on his shoulders, and we start running towards an exit. Me and my escape, I roll an nat 18, and I break one of the cloning tubes. Then I roll another dice. It's like a triangle thing. I can't remember the name for it. And I get a 1. So I saved Napoleon Bonaparte from the cloning facility. So we get out and we get everyone to sit down and we're kind of rearranging our gear and making sure everybody's okay. And we find out that since I prematurely pulled him out, he has like the ripped body of a 20-year-old, but he has like the mind of a 4-year-old. Now, of course, that mind is gonna advance very rapidly in later campaigns. But right now, I still gotta teach him to be a capitalist. So, get all that sorted out. And the reason we were running so fastly out of the building is because earlier the Italian guy jumped up in front of Olaf to block a shot that would have killed Olaf, and it killed him. It killed the Italian guy, one of the top 3. But he had a bomb vest on, and we look to our side, and the entire cloning facility explodes. And then a helicopter drops in, and we get everybody on there, and go back to our headquarters. Now we sit in front of Washington, and he says, "Good job, boys. Threats neutralized. But we have a new problem." And Napoleon's sitting right next to me, kind of dazed with a trench coat on. Surprisingly, he does have the classic Napoleon hat though. And he says, "The Frenchman has sent us a video message." And we watch the video, and it's him standing in a facility where he is single-handedly making nuclear bombs. And he says, "Ah, yes, of course, it is you, American Special Services. The USSA will never find me, and your country will be nuked soon. Good luck trying to defeat us." And then it just ends there, and then Washington said, we deciphered the location and area this message came from. Boys, we're going to New Italy. And that's how the first day of our campaign ended. And we've introduced to the new threat, which is Black Star. Black Star is the organization that this group is, and Black Star is the remnants of the Nazi regime. Yeah, that's the main enemy for this campaign. And so that's the first day of the campaign. Happened a couple months ago at the time of this recording. But yeah, next Monday I will make another video on the next like campaign kind of thing, and I'm probably gonna do like a lot more. But yeah, I hope you enjoy and are excited for the next telling of our campaign stories. See ya.